Hey, everybody. Welcome to Away Games, the Chicago Cubs baseball podcast. My name is Kevin McCaffrey. I'm here with Adam Mamuala, and this is the most away games we've done in a while. I'm in Las Vegas, and Adam is out there in New York. How's it going, Adam?
You know, it's going fine. I texted Kevin earlier today and I said, look, I'll be honest at this point, continuing to do a weekly podcast about the Cubs feels borderline masochistic. And I do feel that way. But if you are also suffering along with us, you can follow us at Away Games Pod on Twitter and Instagram, but especially Twitter, because we're right there with you folks.
Yep.
We are hanging in there as best we can. But where to begin? We broke the losing streak. How about that? 2 out of 3 against the Braves. We're going to win the World Series, baby.
That's if it was sort of by like boxing or wrestling rules where beating the champ means you are the champ, then we would have we would currently be the champ right now. Now, would that be enough for the Ricketts to make funds available when they're needed? I'm heavy air quoting here. Jed Hoyer recently talking about being confident the money will be there when it's needed. Jed, it would have been, you should have brought that up before. We've been playing seasons the last several years. It's needed in a season, so that could be any time. But yeah, it's the beating the Braves 2 out of 3, and the pitchers who did it was pretty fun.
It was very fun. So why don't you tell us about the some of the pitching performances that we saw over the weekend?
Well, so we had Justin Steele gutted out through 5 innings, I think maybe 5 plus 3 runs, and it was enough to get him a win, which is nice because Steele, he's had some up and down runs here a little bit, but like he's just, in terms of the old pitcher win stat, he's just had a very unlucky run. So it was nice to see him not have to go 7 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts or something to get a win for once. So,
he's mostly been trending up for sure. I mean, I think I saw that in June he had given up 3 earned runs across 3 starts. So
and like he also, the kind of contact he's giving up is very soft for the most part. So it seems like he's getting late movement on the ball, or guys just aren't picking him up terribly well. And that's great, because this is a thing. And I think watching Steele progress now is relevant also in comparison to Caleb Killian not being good to this point, because we're seeing a lot of people understandably on Twitter being like, oh, Caleb Killian's, he's not it, overhyped, whatever. And it's like, it's been 3 starts, and in terms of just calling him up, being like, oh well, we replace him with someone else from the farm system, Caleb Killian was better than all of them at the same level in TripleA. So that's not the answer. Sometimes guys are going to be bad before they're good. And, Justin Steele is an example of a guy who's had just a couple of games that were blowups this year. And we talked about like him and Keegan Thompson, who had an even better game this weekend. Keep them in there. You just have to get them reps in a season that otherwise doesn't matter. And we're starting to see that pay off for Steele.
Right. And I mean, is there anything more baseball than a team on a 10-game losing streak playing against a team on a 14-game winning streak, and the team with the losing streak wins that game?
I should have bet it, Adam. I should have bet it, because it's that much.
But what did you bet instead? Why don't you talk about that?
I bet a number of things that were stupid, of course. I'm in Las Vegas right now. I'm holding on to, my brother and I both put $50 on the Chicago Cubs and the Caleb Killian game yesterday, and just watch them get absolutely smoked by one of the worst teams.
They wouldn't even have covered a plus 10 run differential.
No. And I would have felt, really, taking the Cubs plus 10 against the Pirates, I would have felt pretty solid about it. I didn't think JT Brubaker was going to go 6 shutout on him, throwing like 50 pitches in the first 2 innings too, just letting him off the hook.
But I do have to say, the young guys that the Pirates have just recently called up, particularly, is it ONeil? Is that the name?
ONeil Cruz. Yeah.
Oh my God.
ONeil Cruz is fun.
Can't judge anyone based off of a one game, but that he might be the fastest person in baseball right now.
He's 6'7". He's the tallest shortstop who's ever existed at the major league level. This is a true record that has now been set. He was kept down at the beginning of the year, clearly for sort of, contract service time manipulation issues and stuff. And then he got hurt, but he's a freak of a player, which is nice. He's super fast, 6'7". He threw the fastest infield throw of the
I
year.
saw that. My God.
90, almost 97 miles an hour from shortstop to get Willson by half a step. And he has big power as a left-handed hitting shortstop. So it's like, this is fun. It's a fun player. It's a bunch of weird shit.
Yeah, and then they have that guy Bly.
Yeah, Schmoogie Mervis or whatever. Like, just it is. Yeah, the Bly. I forget his last name. He had a great game, but I was like, this is one of those. I don't know if you've ever seen the like screen cap of there was a Japanese baseball game like for Japanese Nintendo, and they made up just made up American sounding names, and it was just total chaos. Todd Bonzales was one of them. I remember
Bonzales.
Yeah, Bonz, where it's just like, someone who didn't know American names really just taking wild guesses, and it was reminds
me a little bit
clean fun
of Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball, where like Ken Griffey Jr. was the only actual person, and then everyone else was like, I remember the Randy Johnson guy was called Bolt Lightning. And then I guess it was supposed to be like Edgar Martinez. That person was called, they were brothers, Viper and Morey Ramirez.
Oh man. Those are strong names. Okay. I did find the meme, and this is the lineup: Sleeve McDykel, Onsen Sweeney, Daryl Arkadeld, and Anatoly Smorin, Ray McScriff, Glenn Allen Mixon, Raul, Kevin Nogilny, Tony Smirnick, Bobson Dugnut, ladies and gentlemen, Dwight, not Portugal, Rortugal, and everyone's favorite, Todd.
Can you promise me, let's promise each other that if either of us get famous enough that we need to use a fake name at a hotel, can we go with Bobson Dugnut?
Bobson Dugnut, absolutely, that's a great baseball check-in name.
I like Glenn Allen Mixon too, because I feel like Glenn Allen Hill kind of had the body type of Joe Mixon, so it does work.
Yes, yeah,
very burly man.
An all-time sort of forgotten extreme top-end steroid bod of allegedly Glenn Allen Hill. So the Pirates brought up a couple guys. I think they set the record for most players to make a major league debut by this point in the season. I think it's 12 so far. Yeah. And the Cubs just couldn't touch them. So
they could not. Yeah, 12-1 yesterday was the score as we record this on Tuesday. We also did not mention the pretty unwatchable Sunday game against the Braves, in which we were shut out 6-0. Kyle Hendricks looked pretty rough. Yes, the wind was blowing out, but it's on a lot of levels it sucks, not only because we love Kyle Hendricks, but because we do have to operate in a world where, yes, he could be traded, and his trade value right now is absolutely nothing. Right. I don't know if you saw me post this. Do you watch the show Barry?
I watched season 1. I haven't seen it lately. I know it's the new season is out. Yeah.
There's a scene, not to spoil anything too much, but where one of the characters kind of melts down, and her agent has to like release her from the roster, and so I posted just a clip of that with me saying like me to Kyle Hendricks as the fantasy team manager, and it's just this woman like begrudgingly being like, I have to drop you.
Yeah,
I'm not happy about it, but I have to.
Yeah, you have to understand. There's nothing I can do, and
you forced my hand.
Yeah, it sucks because it's really fun to watch when Kyle Hendricks is being the Kyle Hendricks we know, and for the last year and a half, really, it's been very up and down. And we heard he was having shoulder issues, took some time off, came back, was great, and then the next start not so great. So that has looked rough, but on the nicer side, we had the day before that, I believe we had Keegan Thompson going 6 innings, giving up 2 hits and no runs against the Braves with 9 strikeouts, and he looked amazing. And this is after 2 starts where he got roughed up 2 starts in a row, and we said you have to keep starting Keegan Thompson because someone has to be a starter, and he's shown enough. Otherwise, you got to ride some of these bumps out.
Yeah, and I mean, was that the day that was he against Charlie Morton that day?
Maybe.
Or was that the Friday game? Either way, I know Morton was dealing when he was pitching. He's looking better too. If that was in fact the matchup, that's kind of fun because Morton is like one of the oldest players in baseball, and Keegan is obviously, I would assume, on the younger side for pitchers. But
yeah. I think Keegan's like 25, 26 maybe. But Yeah. So I mean that was, but the Brave series did have some, those were some highlights. That's good as far as positive things this week. Willson Contreras has a huge lead in the All-Star voting at catcher, which is correct because he's the best catcher in baseball. And we all know.
Hey, we might get another 12-year-old prospect out of that All-Star nod.
We should get several pony league beasts. Absolutely, just high level little league phenoms.
You know these people who are like super pro life, and they're like life begins at conception. Life begins when Jed Hoyer trades for you.
Yes, no matter
trading
what
for fetuses at this point.
Yes, life begins when Jed Hoyer starts considering you as a piece in a deal for a legitimate major league all-star. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't know how to be. I just like there's part of me, the same stupid part of me that bet $50 on the Cubs yesterday in Vegas at the Circa Sportsbook, which is in downtown Vegas, is huge and is great. Excuse me, my voice has been working hard this week. But yeah, the same stupid part of me still has hope that they could surprise us with a happy Willson Contreras extension. Could you imagine if they did that? It's an idiot.
I mean, it seemed like a borderline miracle that they avoided arbitration with him. So I don't I say this knowing full well that the Ricketts and possibly Jed Hoyer do not give a shit what any of us think about anything.
Oh, yeah.
But think of the goodwill it would earn to just sign Contreras to an extension, even if you try to flip everybody else. Just that, and saying we are keeping a foundational piece that will be with us for this next run that we are claiming is going to be soon.
Yeah,
I feel like it would go such a long way in removing some of the bad taste in our mouths from what happened last year.
It would. It's like being in a relationship with a narcissist where, they just keep taking from you and then eventually give you just one little bit of daylight. And you know what? I'm hoping to be in a relationship with such a narcissist baseball wise at this point.
Right.
Because it would change the feeling about everything and would be a statement of intent, and that you would care to compete anytime in the next couple of years. So, yeah. But
Contreras continues to show us how much he cares, even on a horrific team.
He wants to be here, and he's made that clear a bunch of times, and as Chris Bryant did back in the day, and then never got a contract extension offer, and then Jed Hoyer talked behind his back, or after he left behind his back, about how no one wanted to sign, and that turned out to be a lie because there was never an offer. But it's nice to see that Willson is probably keep voting for those all-star. Willson and Ian Happ should be in consideration. Like maybe he won't end up being a starter. He likely won't end up being an all-star starter, but like Ian Happ he's having an all-star caliber season. So, it is weird that a team this bad should maybe have 3 all-stars with David Robertson too. It's
yeah.
But keep voting for Willson, and it will be nice at least to he should get his 3rd all-star start, which not a lot of players in history get to do. That's a great mark. So.
No, and speaking of him, we got to see a really cool moment with him going against his younger brother, who has been very good for the Braves, even though he's not their everyday starting catcher. That was kind of a cool moment where they embraced at home plate. And the whole family was there. I think his dad wearing like a Braves hat and a Cubs jersey and the whole deal. Let me ask you this question. If the Brewers can release Lorenzo Cain, why can the Cubs not do that with Jason Hayward?
I mean, one team wants to win. I guess that's one key difference, but yeah. So yeah, you want to tell us about that little juxtaposition in team
Yeah, I mean, my understanding of it is that the Brewers specifically, out of like kind of a good faith gesture, waited until the exact day that Lorenzo Cain met his 10 years in the league, which like unlocks basically a pension and all sorts of benefits that you would not have otherwise if you didn't get to that point, which obviously is valuable and something that a team that respects someone should do when they've been a good player for that organization. I don't know. Do you know where Jason Hayward is in relation to that? Is he already there?
It's a great question. I was just Googling it because I was, as you're saying that, like, what if that's what the Cubs are doing? Just looking it up, and I not super confirmed, but as far as a Google search, the report I see here is that he's at exactly 12 years and 0 days.
Right.
So he's already fully vested in his pension. So so that's not the reason that Hayward is still here. But yes, because basically if you have 9 years and 364 service days, basically you do not get the fully vested pension. So now that the Brewers had Kane go, the one more day, he's fully vested. That is a classy move. That's a classy move from what we understand to be a pretty classy guy in Lorenzo Kane. They're just, what can you say at this point? Because do you hope for when Seiya Suzuki comes back? Is that going to be the final thing that pushes him out? Because we have Rafael Ortega, who is hitting, and then Ian Happ, who's playing at an all-star level. Seiya Suzuki, if his finger ever grows back, it would be lovely to have. He has to be in there, right? Clint Frazier.
What a long time to be out for what didn't seem like something that serious.
I know.
I'm not calling him soft. I want to be clear about that.
No, not at all.
It just seems bizarre.
No, yeah. I think it's pretty clearly a legitimate finger injury. It just sucks. It just, so there's just, and then Chris Morel, obviously in the outfield too. There's just a big outfield mix of guys who you need to see get playing time.
But Morel can go back into the infield.
He can, and he should, because Jonathan Villar should never step on the dirt in that infield again. He dropped a pop-up. He blew a double play. That really didn't help Caleb Killian out, and he's just been terrible defensively all year. And God bless, he's had a fine career. He is no longer a major league caliber player and should not be taking infield starts on this team. So I think Morel, you probably once he gets Suzuki healthy, I think you're going to see Morel hopefully maybe back playing more like second base or even like shortstop at times, second, shortstop, and third. But there just is no world in which Jason Hayward should be taking at bats and starts from anybody here. And Nelson Velasquez is another name. They just called up Nelson Velasquez, and it seems like there's no plans to start him while he's here. And it's just like, well, what? It's just incompetent baseball team management,
Well, because the thing about it is, if you were trying to win, you could not justify starting Jason Hayward.
Correct.
But we are not trying to win. And for that reason, we also cannot justify starting Jason Hayward.
Absolutely. Because we hear all the talk about it's about finding out who's going to be on the next great Cubs team or the next Cubs team that matters. And it's, God bless Jason Hayward, but we are completely sure he is not one of those people. He just isn't, maybe Hayward can go be a defensive replacement on a team that is trying to win somewhere or something. I don't know, but probably not even, but we know there's no point in him taking these at-bats here. And when people say, we talked about this last week, I think, but when people say but they're paying him so much money, they're paying him the money anyway, whether he takes the at-bats or not. You're losing value by not using those at-bats and giving them to other people who might be on your team, who will be on your team longer, or could even be. So the money's paid. The money's going to be paid anyway. Releasing him, actually, maybe you get that minimum salary back, because another team would have to pay him at least the, $600,000 or whatever.
And it is worth mentioning that, somewhat surprisingly for me at least, Clint Frazier did clear waivers and is still on the Iowa Cubs. So I don't know. Maybe he's not as desirable as I thought. I would have thought some team would take a flyer on him. I don't know why you wouldn't if he were available, but.
Yeah, and he could have selected free agency, but then that would have given up. I think he's on a $1 million contract, I think. So it's more. He's on for more than the league minimum, contract. So. Take his $1 million and go take some cuts. Yeah. Hopefully take some regular swings in Iowa. Right. And maybe this is a thing where after there's more deals at the All-Star break and the 40-man roster spots clear up and whatever, we get him back up at the major league level. So we'll see. So
what are you, how far do futures bets go? Can you do like a Cubs in 2026 bet in Vegas?
God, yeah. I don't know. I will ask though, because I have a lot of time in Vegas. I'm doing 2 shows a night at the Laugh Factory at the Tropicana now through Sunday. And so I had some of my good friends, my wife, and some of my good college friends and my brothers and sister-in-law were here this weekend for ostensibly 40th birthday celebration stuff for me. But now they've left and it's just me solo. So I got time to research. I'm going to go ask, how far in the future can I give you money for my team to win? That my team that refuses to give money to baseball players. Can I give money to you for a really hot 2028 run when Kevin Alcantara's maybe breaking out at the major league level?
Is the AAA Las Vegas team in town this week?
You know that, Adam, that's a great question that I had not even considered.
I know they used to be the Mets affiliate, which made no sense because of their location. I forget who they're affiliated with now. Actually, Max Scherzer is making a start in Binghamton for the AA Mets team. And I knew he was going to make a start, and I was hoping that it would be for the Cyclones, which would have been fucking awesome to go see Scherzer pitch for the Cyclones. But sadly, he'll be in Binghamton. I'm actually going to be in on Saturday, but not today.
Oh, cool. That would be very fun to watch Scherzer shove over there. All right, so we got the Las Vegas Aviators, formerly known as the Las Vegas 51s, and the Las Vegas Stars. A lot of alien-related, Area 51 things there. They are an Oakland A's affiliate, and
so arguably more attendance than the big league team.
Yeah, I believe so. If they are in town, maybe I will cross that stadium off. Let's see, Aviators tickets on SeatGeek. Looks
probably
like
pretty hot, but
yeah, they're playing the Albuquerque Isotopes. So, ooh, baby. So yeah, if there's a day game in here, I can go check that out. I'm working at night, unfortunately, but yeah.
And speaking of stadiums, against my better judgment, I am going to see the Cubs. I'm officially going to see the Cubs play in Cincinnati, which will be, of the current 30 stadiums, number 22 for me.
That's a pretty good list. Nice. I think Cincinnati's kind of an underrated stadium because Pittsburgh gets all the love, and good for them, and Pittsburgh
rightfully
is great.
So.
Yeah, it's great. But Cincinnati is the same designer, and there's a lot of similar things that about it that it's built like on the water in the same way with a similar view. Pittsburgh just has like sort of a more aesthetically pleasing view, but I think at the Cincinnati Stadium, it's a little underrated, I would say.
Yeah, I'll have to see if you have. I don't know when the last time was you were there. If you have any like interesting food recs, I don't see myself getting a bowl of chili, Skyline chili, at a baseball game. That feels like a weird move, especially at a ball game in August. And this will be the series. It's a weird like 2-game Saturday Sunday series because they have a Friday off day after the very non-sexy Field of Dreams game between the Cubs and Reds on that Thursday, the 11th or whatever. But I forget if I told you about it. It coincides with the tennis tournament that leads up to the New York U.S. Open. So it's like the U.S. Open series in like the Cincinnati area. So it'll be 2 full days of tennis and then a Saturday night baseball game.
That sounds lovely. That's and 2 of the worst teams in 2 of the 3 terrible teams in baseball's worst division.
Who will be ahead of the other team by mid-August?
I think you have to say the Reds are going to be ahead of the Cubs because the Reds started 3-22 and they've caught all the way up. So I mean, like, I think you gotta. The signs are pointing to. I think the Reds are going to be a little bit ahead. But
meanwhile, the Yankees are 50-17.
50-17. Anthony Rizzo's over there with 19 homers and I believe 1.6 wins above replacement so far. For people in Cubs Twitter land who like to track such things, that is a 2.4 wins above replacement, better than what the Cubs have done at first base. So I don't know. Anthony Rizzo's good, and we're all happy for him. We're seeing it more and more, folks. And he's out there hitting bombs to right field over and over.
And you know what? Guess who I just stashed on my fantasy bench till he comes back? Chris Bryant was available.
Chris Bryant, I mean, that tells you how rough the year's been, and I don't even know what his injury situation is.
It's like a back. It was a back injury. He came back, and then perhaps too soon re-aggravated it. So now he's been out for another month or something like that.
Well, we've never heard that story with Chris Bryant before.
No, hopefully the Rockies didn't wait until the 9th day and then put him on the retroactive IL to come back 2 days from now.
Yeah. Well, hope he gets healthy soon too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that covers most of the newsy stuff this week, Cubs wise, right? Is there any other big things we're missing? Hello?
Oh, there you are.
Oh, hello. My internet's quitting. My internet's like, this show is done. So
it was pretty good timing, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad. But yeah, any other things to cover before we leave, Adam?
No, I don't think so. Unless there's any baseball news that I've forgotten about, but I don't think there was anything too crazy this week.
No, I don't think so. We saw Garrett Cole take a no hitter into the eighth yesterday. We saw Miles Michaelis lost a no hitter after 8 2/3, which I mean, sorry, St. Louis.
And then people were jumping all over the guy who broke it up. He didn't lay down a bunt. He hit a ball over Harrison Bader's head. What do you want him to do?
He had a blast to center field. Go get it, Bader. Like that's that's it. And Tim Anderson's had an exciting little run here, but you can look that up if you want. I guess their Instagram drama.
Ooh, I don't know about this. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah. So Tim, good luck. Good luck getting all that settled. He's a very fun player. Hopefully he gets back and everything's all right. Did I tell you? I think I've told you I worked with Tim Anderson's half sister on an MTV show.
Oh, I know who you're referring to, but I didn't realize that was Tim Anderson's half sister.
Yeah. So yeah, we got.
Is she like an influencer person?
Yeah, she's got a hell of an Instagram feed. Amber Diamond is her name, and she's a lot of fun. She's also on Wild and Out with some of our comedian friends. So but yeah, that's it. I think that's all the baseball stuff. I'll be in Vegas. Tell me if there's any way I can make my money back. If you guys have any suggestions, I'm all ears.
I think you just got to keep putting 50 on the Cubs every day.
Yeah, I was 50 last time, so I got to go 100 this time.
100, yeah,
until it works, and just keep doubling it.
Yeah, double or nothing never fails. That's what I've heard.
Nope. Thanks for listening, everybody. At Away Games Pod on Twitter and Insta and all the things. And if I survive Vegas, we'll do this again next week.